The word hung in the air like a held breath. Others. Not a question, not an invitation. A statement of fact, delivered the way you tell someone the tide is coming in. The cartographer had watched this world for centuries, circled it more times than any other coordinate in its survey, and now it had brought us here to see why. The structures did not move. They stood in rows, catching the wrong colored light, and I could not tell if they were buildings or towers or something else entirely. The distance was too great, the sky too alien. My eyes kept trying to correct the geometry and failing. Distance, Bello said, reading her scanner. Approximately 4 kilometers from the threshold. The terrain between us and them is flat, uniform. Too uniform for natural formation. Like a field, Ray said, like a landing field. We stood at the threshold of the north face. The cartographer had not moved. It was waiting for us to decide, and I understood suddenly that the decision was not whether to go. The cartographer had opened the door. The decision was whether we went first or let it lead. I need to read the coordinate again, I said. Confirm the number before we step through. Holt looked at me. You read it already. 14 north. The cartographer wrote it in your language. Not my language, it's language learned from my skin. I want to check the original. I found it. The entry for 14 north. The cartographer had circled it hundreds of times. Each circle was a return visit, a documented observation, and the data beneath each circle was thicker than anything else in the survey. I pressed my thumb against the numerals and felt the tether stir. The cartographer's attention shifted toward me, curious, patient. It has been going back for centuries, I said. The same world, the same structures. But the records change. Each return documents something different, something that grew how? Reese. I cannot read it fully, but the early entries are sparse. A single structure, a note. Later entries have more data, more structures. The circles get tighter. The notation gets denser. Whatever is out there, it has been building for a very long time. Holt stepped past me, toward the amber light. The Foundation has records of this coordinate, not detailed. A survey note from the initial mapping. It says, Funing habited. No native life forms detected. Then the Foundation missed something, I said. The cartographer turned its head. The silver form tilted, and through the tether I felt something new. Not recognition, not patience. Something sharper. A note of insistence, the way a teacher taps a chalkboard when the class has drifted. It wants us to go now, I said. It has been waiting a long time to show someone this. The cartographer moved. Not fast. 3 strides, the same unhurried confidence it had shown crossing the east face. It passed through the amber light and stood on the far side, on the flat field under the wrong-colored sky, and turned back to face us, waiting. Ray's checked her sidem. Holt read the text at her throat. Bello adjusted her scanner. I looked at my hands, at the map written into my skin, and I thought about the countdown that had been running since my first night in this cavern. The thing coming toward us, the thing we had been racing. Then I stepped through. The cold hit first, not Antarctic cold, something older. The air tasted of metal and dust and a faint sweetness I could not place. The ground beneath my boots was flat and hard, unnaturally level, and the wrong-colored sky pressed down like a lid. Rays followed, then Bello, then Holt. The north face stood behind us, a black rectangle of impossible geometry in a field that had no right to be so even. And ahead of us, 4 kilometers away, the structures rose against the sky. They were not buildings, they were doors. I stopped walking. The cartographer stood beside me. Its silver light rippled in the wrong-colored sky, and through the tether I felt it watching me understand. Not buildings, not towers, hundreds of them. Thousands, a field of doors, each one identical, each one a copy of the origin door scaled down to human proportions, each one dark and sealed. 14 north, I said. My voice sounded small. The most circled coordinate in the survey, the place the cartographer kept returning to. It was not documenting a settlement, Holt said. Quiet. It was documenting a construction site. The cartographer raised one silver arm and pointed deeper into the field. At the far end, barely visible against the wrong-colored sky, a door stood open. Amber light spilling from its threshold, a door that had been activated, and through it I could see another field, another row of doors, and beyond that another, receding into a distance that could not exist on one world. The cartographer had not brought us to see what it had found, it had brought us to see what it had built. And somewhere in that infinite chain of doors, something was coming back.